We all know the story by now. Boy meets radioactive spider. Radioactive spider bites boy. Boy gets the proportionate strength of a spider and ultimately uses it to show the world that with great power comes great responsibility. But what if Peter Parker decided that upholding this virtue wasn't enough? What if the wall crawler learned this whole cat and mouse game between superheroes and villains really went nowhere? What if Spider-Man became the Punisher? Our story begins as you'd expect. Pete gains his superpowers, and being a young man with needs of his own, he uses it for profit. He gets so full of himself that he lets a robber go after getting screwed by one of his gigs. That same robber ends up being the same man to take poor Uncle Ben's life. We all know the rest, at least as far as the mainline Marvel universe goes. But in this reality, things are about to take a turn for the fatal.
Peter Parker, sorry to have to inform you that your uncle was shot, killed by a burglar that he surprised in the house.
And like that, my world came crashing down. Instead of comforting my aunt, I rushed to the old warehouse where the police had the killer surrounded. And that made all the difference.
On this dark night, an entirely different hero is about to be born. And let's just say he's not that all too friendly to the neighborhood.
You! All my fault. I had the power to prevent Ben's murder and couldn't be bothered. Never again.
With a quick pull of the trigger, the web-slinger learns that there are far more effective weapons to fight crime than webs and superhuman reflexes. Soon enough, word gets out of this new hero in town, as the Daily Bugle publishes a story about Pete's recent deadly scuffle with the man who killed his father figure. Regardless of which reality you're looking at, though, one thing is constant. The Bugle will always paint Spider-Man as a menace. If this were Earth 616, Mr. Parker would have met this news with a light little quip. Not in this world, though.
Uncle Ben always said that with great power, there must come great responsibility. So when J. Jonah Jameson warped reality to sell newspapers, I didn't care. I vowed there would be no more innocent victims like Uncle Ben, while it was within my power to prevent them. By any means. Even if others vilified me for it.
The web-slinger's life goes on more or less the way it does in the mainline Marvel U. Specifically, our hero capitalizes on the opportunity to make ends meet by taking pictures of himself as Spider-Man. However, during a fight with what would be his greatest nemesis, the Green Goblin, there's one thing this version of Peter Parker has noticed that the OG has not.
With each encounter, these villains became more vicious and dangerous.
The wall crawler's decision to change his tactics is only solidified when the maniacal villain escapes his grasp. So, it doesn't take long before our hero makes the necessary adjustments.
It was clear I would need new tricks of my own to stop these psychopaths from endangering innocents.
And with the preparations done, the web-slinger decides to test out these new upgrades. Let's just say it worked far better than he anticipated.
The first test of my new weaponry was against the Sinister Six confederation of old foes who threatened exactly the wrong people, my loved ones. My EMP rounds fried Electro. There was no messing around with Kraven, explosive rounds for the Mad Russian. After an exhausting bout with Mysterio's robot X-Men, the coup de grace was delivered up close and personal. Incendiary rounds turned sand and Sandman to glass for easy shattering. Without their power source, Vulture's wings became useless decorations. For the brilliant Dr. Octopus who masterminded this scheme, my armor-piercing rounds turned his mechanical arms to shrapnel.
As a result of his altered game plan, Spider-Man's unprecedented effectiveness in permanently getting rid of New York's superpowered criminal element inevitably lowers the city's crime rate. This allows Pete to gain a semblance of normalcy to his life. He goes to college, meets Gwen Stacy, and falls in love. It was only a matter of time before the city's scum rose once again, prompting Pete to don the black suit once again. For a brief period, our hero is able to balance his life as a relatively normal young man and a lethal protector. And again, New York's crime rate goes down as its villains recede into the dark for fear of Spider-Man's wrath. Not his greatest foe, though. Not by a long shot. And this time, the Green Goblin gets the better of the wall crawler, at least for a bit. Ultimately, Spider-Man is able to give his arch-nemesis the beating he deserves. And when Peter learns the man under the goblin mask happens to be none other than his best friend, Harry's father, Norman Osborn, who Pete discovers is suffering from the mental instability brought about by his goblin serum. Our hero comes to the decision to give the man a pass. Little does he know that this would soon bite him harder than the spider who gave him his superpowers. Because it doesn't take long before Norman's mind unravels once again. As Pete puts it,
Whatever mental dam that had held back Osborn's memories of his goblin past catastrophically failed. Osborn geared up to seek his revenge.
the goblin's vengeance comes in the form we're all too familiar with, as he kidnaps the web-slinger's lady love Gwen Stacy. But this encounter won't turn out like it normally does. With a broken neck and the revelation that your then-girlfriend cuckolded you with your arch-enemy down the line.
Mr. Parker, if you wish Gwen Stacy to live, you must die.
Unless Osborn's threat ended then and forever, no one I cared about would ever be safe. Firing an armor-piercing round followed by 2 Teflon-jacketed slugs, I hope my cobbled-together tech would counter the best Oscorp research could produce, and that I could make all the rounds strike the same spot.
It does, and the threat of the Green Goblin is permanently nullified after a few well-placed slugs to the man's chest, something the original Spider-Man could, but would never do. On the other hand, some things don't change regardless of which universe.
Gwen, no!
This time, however, Spider-Man is ultimately able to rescue Gwen, changing the course of the wall crawler's life forever.
Peter?
Yes, it's Peter.
You saved me?
I'm afraid I almost got you killed. I thought I was protecting my loved ones. More often than not, being a vigilante resulted in escalating cycles of violence. It was way past time to come clean with Gwen and concentrate on being a good boyfriend, a good husband, if she'd have me.
So from there, Peter Parker proposes his undying love for his sweetheart. He hangs up his web tights soon enough. And as you'd expect, the city's rats gradually come out to play, knowing that the big black superpowered cat has gone away.
I had the power, the responsibility, to make the woman I love happy, and almost botched it. Never again. I chose a path of love, not vengeance, and that's made all the difference.
But like we said, there are some things that remain constant regardless of which world in the Marvel multiverse you look at. The absence of the punishing Spider-Man has allowed the city's criminals to emerge once more. And, since the webbed lethal protector has ended his crusade, a man experiences a life-changing tragedy somewhere else in the city due to the vigilante-shaped hole that Peter left. What everyone doesn't know just yet is that the universe abhors a vacuum.
The Castle family, both parents, young son and daughter, were gunned down when they stumbled across Hunt's abductors in the act. It is believed all 4 of the Castle family were killed, though the body of the father, Frank Castle, a highly decorated Marine veteran, has not yet been recovered. We can only hope he's somehow pulled through.
That's it for now, guys. We hope you loved watching this video. Drop a comment below to let us know your thoughts about it. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe with all your notifications turned on if you haven't done so already. And if you like this Lethal Spider-Man story, we're sure you're going to love the next one, so feel free to check it out. We'll see you next time. Take care.